A dry, rustling sound. A reddish-black dried powder. Something gritty clung to my fingertip. At the same time, a suffocating metallic stench, like old dried blood or rust, assaulted my nose. What in the world is this? A few years ago, I moved to Tokyo for university and finally started living on my own, just as I'd always dreamed. But before I knew it, I was completely broke, barely scraping by. Cup noodles again, huh? I really need to find a part-time job soon. That's when my eyes landed on it, tucked away at the bottom of my bag. It was a pink charm for safe childbirth, something my aunt, my mother's sister, had practically forced on me just before I left for Tokyo. Oh, this. It's the Hakashoya charm. You know how they say some charms have money hidden inside for emergencies? With a faint glimmer of hope, I untied the string of that Hakashoya charm. I wonder if there's any money in here. I opened the charm, but there was no feel of bills or coins inside. What I pulled out was a yellowish, stiff, coarse cotton cloth, maybe 2 or 3 centimeters long. And about half of that cloth was thickly stained a reddish-brown, warped and hardened into a crinkled mess. What is this? Blood? The moment I touched it, a dry, reddish-black powder flaked off, clinging to my fingertip. It was an intense, sickening sensation, like touching someone's dried skin, and that suffocating smell of blood. Feeling utterly disgusted, I couldn't help but call my mother. But my mother's voice was strangely calm, chillingly cold, when she said,
"Just be careful, so nothing terrible happens."
My mother's unsettling demeanor made goosebumps erupt all over my body. Cold sweat trickled down my spine as I dialed my aunt, the one who'd given me the charm, my fingers trembling. What was that? That cloth, those stains, I babbled, utterly panicked. And my aunt.
"What do you mean?" "It's blood. The blood of women killed to reduce mouths to feed."
She said that in our village, which had suffered extreme poverty, women were always the first to be reduced during times of famine. They were abandoned in the mountains or locked in cramped sheds and left to starve, and the blood of their resentment that flowed from their mouths was wiped up by the surviving women with cloth, passed down through generations. That's what was inside this charm, she claimed.
The blood of their resentment passed on to the next generation. Chant it in your heart, and they'll vomit up their organs and die.
Goosebumps erupted again. The women of my hometown, whom I'd always thought of as kind, had been secretly sharing such a dark, festering curse for generations. That's when the worst possible thought suddenly flashed through my mind. Wait. My mother was supposed to have hated this custom and left the village because of it. So why didn't she stop me from taking this from my aunt, Mom? She must have known about this. Just be careful, so nothing terrible happens. My mother's words. The Hakashoya curse would never forgive traitors who left the village, forgot the suffering of its women, and tried to find happiness for themselves. Could it be that my mother, knowing I was completely immersed in my Tokyo life and had no intention of ever returning to that countryside, had deliberately... Mom, did you curse me? This charm was a chain, meant to ensure the village's tragedy was never forgotten. So, what if I, who had completely abandoned the village and was enjoying my carefree life in Tokyo, was carrying around this blood of resentment? Wouldn't the curse meant for others turn back on me, the traitor? The moment that realization hit me, no, the curse, it's on me. Suddenly a dull, throbbing pain shot through me, from my lower abdomen deep into my stomach. It was a raw, agonizing pain, as if my internal organs were squelching and shifting inside my belly. What is this? The yellowish scrap of cloth tossed onto my desk seemed to pulse with a sickening warmth, as if mocking me. This was seriously bad. My own family, the people I thought were my greatest allies, were trying to curse me to death. It's over. That night, with trembling hands, I put that scrap of cloth, charm and all, into a trash bag and threw it out with the burnable garbage. That was it. It was over. I wanted to believe that, but 3 days later, as I was getting ready for university, I heard a dry rustle from the bottom of my bag. No way. Why is it here? And, for some reason, it was slightly damp. More so than before. Even now, sometimes, a sharp pain flares deep in my stomach. When will my organs finally burst out of my mouth? Hey, do any of you have an old charm given to you by your parents or relatives? If you ever smell something like old rust from inside it, then there's nowhere left for you to run. Nowhere left to run.